Hey everyone, I'm Mark.
And I'm Noah. You're watching Step 1, Middle of the Month, Episode 1.
Hey guys, welcome to the first real official episode of Season 2. As you can tell, like the previous episode this season, which was Otronicon, was a special edition kind of thing. So it didn't really have all the flair that this has, because we filmed and released it within 3 days. So we're trying out a lot of new things this season. As you can see, like this is a completely new design for the show. We're trying to revamp the animations, and as the season goes on, you're going to see it get better and better and better, because we're really trying to go for a more professional feel with the show.
Yeah, definitely. Also, we're going to have a better release schedule. We will be trying our very best to release every episode on the 1st, and also on between the 12th and the 18th, we'll have a middle of the month episode. It'll be kind of a smaller episode. It may not be always smaller. It may actually be the same size or length as a normal episode, but you never know. It'll be different every month, so we hope you enjoy that.
Yeah, so might as well kick off the first middle of the month episode with a game review. Noah got a chance to sit down with the game Elibits and gave it a full review. It's going to be the last Nintendo Wii review for a while, so I hope you enjoy it and stay tuned for other reviews.
Hi, today on Gamer's Edge we'll be reviewing Elibits for the Nintendo Wii. I know some of you may be thinking this is a kid's game. Well, I'm here to tell you that it's not. It's a lot of fun. It kind of has a weird storyline, but once you get past that, it's a great game. The storyline is you're this kid, Kai, and your parents are Elibit researchers. Now, I know you're probably wondering what the heck is an Elibit. Well, an Elibit is this little creature, these creatures that came from the sky one day, and they just dropped down and became the energy for people. They power all the machines that make modern living modern. And this kid, Kai, gets upset because his parents are always researching Elibits, and they're never with him, and he wants attention. So he wishes the Elibits away, they all disappear, and the world goes dark, and he gets upset again, whiny little kid. And then basically pulls out his dad's capture gun, which is a kind of like in Half-Life 2, the gravity gun that you get. It's pretty much the same thing, that you just zap an item, pick it up, and can put it wherever you want. And he goes out to search out for all the Elibits. Okay, graphically, this game is not up to par with like PS3 or Xbox 360 stuff, or even what the Wii can handle. But they chose to keep the graphics down due to the extensive physics engine. The physics in this game are really well done. They're basically, it's like close to Half-Life 2. If there's like a stack of boxes and you pull one out from underneath, the rest of them are just going to tumble down. You pick up cars and bang it into things, and everything goes flying and everything just bounces off each other. Now, with the physics engine, it's a little floaty. Like, you notice the items float a little too much, but it works for this game. It's not realism. I mean, it's a video game. And the artwork for this game and the storytelling is nice. It's a little old school, but it works. It's just kind of like art frames with voice acting over it. Alright, gameplay. You're walking around with the capture gun, zapping up any Elibits you can find. Some Elibits will charge up your gun to make it stronger to be able to lift heavier things such as semis or shelves or houses or amusement rides, whatever the case is. And other Elibits will be for watts to help you get past the level. You have a certain amount of watts that you have to collect to clear the mission. And you can also pick up items to help you collect these Elibits, such as a homing laser that just zaps in. You don't have to aim so much for them. You can just pick up large groups of Elibits real easily. Or the vacuum laser, which is my favorite, where you just basically suck up everything in sight, and it's hard to miss anything with that. Now, sometimes the doors for this game can be annoying when you try and go up and open a door. You turn your wrist and you pull it back, and sometimes just the way the physics are, they programmed it so like the doors will like open and just slam right back shut because it's just bouncing off the hinges. It can be really annoying sometimes when you're trying to get through the level and you've got a few seconds to go and only a few Elibits to go. Also, sometimes when you're making a huge mess, the items can just crowd around you and it's hard to back out of them. But it's not a big deal, but just sometimes it can be a little annoying. For sound of the game, Dolby Surround Pro Logic 2 is in the game. And I don't really like notice it too much. I mean, there's not like a whole lot of things that go on behind you, so it didn't add all that much to the game, but it's always nice to have it. The music, a lot of people said was forgettable. I personally enjoyed it. But I kind of like elevator music sometimes. I know I'm lame, but whatever. The sound effects were really nice, though, like of the banging of things against each other or like the little cries of the Elibits and stuff. Stuff like that was really cool. I think they did a good job on that. One thing that was really bad, though, I have to say, this is the worst voice acting I have ever heard in a video game in my entire life. These people need to quit their day job. Seriously, it is awful. It's like, sounds like a computer program talking. Like, it's awful. It's just real cut up sentences and like emphasis on the words are just horrible. Like, it's just bad. The replay value is where this game really shines. It has 29 missions. With each of those missions, you can unlock a time attack mode or an eternal mode. And in an eternal mode, you can walk around the level with no time limit, free to capture all the Elibits, free to find out all the items in the level and tear up the levels however you want. Also, this game has a map editor mode, which is really nice. You can pick from any of the levels that you've played, and you can set items in the levels however you want. So, like in the city level, you can drop cars wherever, or chairs, or whatever you see fit for the level. You can go ahead and do that, and set also any of the Elibits that you would like where you would like them. Also, for multiplayer, this game is a lot of fun in the multiplayer. Basically, it's the four of you playing cooperative but kind of competitive at the same time. One person controls the camera and they zap at the same time while the other three just zap. And you can set it to where just one of the players does this, or you can have it where it alternates players on different time increments. And it's a lot of fun to play. It can be very addicting, and it's just hours of fun. Also in this game, you can unlock from beating challenge missions or different other missions are weapon upgrades, such as like always have the vacuum laser on, or always have the homing laser on, or various things of that nature. And overall, this game is a great buy, well worth the $50 that you pay for it, brand new, or whatever used if you get it. And I highly suggest that you get it, and hope you enjoy it. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed that game review. Just so you know, that was well over a month ago since we recorded that, and I still play the game, and I really enjoy it a lot.
Yeah, and the multiplayer just adds so much as far as the replay value.
Yeah, definitely. It's a great game. You guys should pick it up. Also, so you guys know, I write game reviews on the site, and not just for the games that end up on the show, but games that don't end up on the show, all kinds of games, different systems. And I try and get out as many as I can, but with work, I'm busy, so I don't get to do as many as I would like. It usually ends up being like two or three
a month is still pretty good.
So, but if you guys would like to help us out and get more out there, if you have any kind of skill with writing reviews, then go ahead interaction. Go ahead and contact us at contact@step1pro.com.
Now, speaking of interaction, we're also starting a new kind of segment where it's going to be normally submitted by the viewers, and the segment's going to be called Stuff You Should Know. Stuff You Should Know is going to be things like, for instance, the next episode is going to have a segment on soldering. Soldering is something that I think everyone should know.
Yeah.
It'll save you a lot of time and hassle if like a wire gets unhooked and you just want to solder it right back on, or to be able to mod like a Xbox or a GameCube or something like that. So definitely check out for these segments that we're going to be doing. But if you want to submit one and suggest one, send an email to sysk@step1pro.com. That stands for Stuff You Should Know.
Definitely. Also, if you have any questions for us, go ahead at questions@step1pro.com. So if you have any questions, it'll automatically be forwarded to all the members of Step 1.
That way we can answer it on the show.
Yeah. So if you'd like to hear it on the show, we'll give props to you, and we'll try and answer to the best of our ability your question on the show if we can.
All right. And I also got a chance to do another program that cost less than a penny. Sorry, this one's going to be a bit long. So, I mean, stick with it. It's a really cool program, and it's part one of a two-part series. I really hope you like it. I love this program. I use it every day at work. This week, for programs that cost less than a penny, I'm going to show you how to make a customized Windows XP disk that's going to auto-install your drivers, your programs. You're not going to have to touch it at all when it's booting, and come back 20 minutes, hour later, and your computer's already on its desktop. Now, first thing I'm going to tell you is pretty much where a lot of this stuff is coming from. I can't take credit for it because I didn't make these programs. Alright, first thing is Enlight. Enlight is a program that you're going to use to integrate pretty much everything into it except for the drivers. Enlight is going to do a lot for you. So you can find that at enlightos.com, but the correct address is going to be on the side. Now, another thing is the Ryan VM's Windows XP Post Service Pack 2 update. Now, this is going to cover any updates that happen post the Service Pack 2 release. Now, there's a few that they leave out, which are like Genuine Advantage. I think IE7's left out. I'm not 100% sure on which ones are left out. But you can download the Windows Genuine Advantage package and auto-install it too. Now, a lot of these are going to do more of a patch thing instead of an auto-install. Like the Ryan VM is going to patch the Windows XP disk, so you're not going to be like running all these updates. So like actually when you boot into your computer for the first time, you can run to your control panel, check out which programs are installed, show the Windows updates, and it's not going to show any because they were not installed, they were already in the operating system. So it's kind of like you have like a Service Pack 3 disk, so to say. And you can also auto-install like Windows .NET frameworks 1.1 and 2.0. I think you have to do that in the slipstream, but we'll get to all that stuff later. First things first, let's go ahead and cover some of the things that you're going to be able to install. You can put in auto-install. These are just a few programs I do. Firefox, Spybot, Adaware, Foxit Reader. They do let you do Adobe Reader in a switchless installer, but who uses Adobe Reader? You can do AIM, IRC, Yahoo, MSN, Windows Messenger, Avast for your antivirus, Java, K-Lite Codec Pack, DVD Shrink, CDEX. The list goes on and on. To see a full list of the ones I did in my disk, you can go to the website. You can check it out there. Now, let's go ahead and get things going, and let's fire up Enlight OS. Alright, first thing you need to do in the Enlight OS is to pick where your disk is going to be located on your computer, because it's actually not going to do it on the fly and burn it directly to another drive if you have two drives. It needs to copy it onto the computer and then modify the files and then burn it onto a disk. Now, you can either go from one that's already installed on your computer. If you have an ISO on your computer, you can run Daemon Tools and then use it that way. Or you can just go ahead and use the disk that you already have if you bought a retail copy, or if you have like whatever, however you got it. Some people download the ISO and then get a disk or a CD key in the email. Now, once you have that all set, it's time to set what things we're going to change in it. The main thing that we're going to focus on, I dropped the paper, I'll be right back. Alright, the main thing we're going to focus on is removing components and stuff like that. But first things first, they have a Service Pack integrator. So if you need Service Pack 1 or 2, whatever, integrated, you can do that from there. Now, we're not going to cover that. It's very simple to do on your own if you want to do it. I didn't need to do it, so I'm pretty much showing you how I did mine. And I'm going to point you in the right direction, but you can just download the Service Pack 2 update from update.microsoft.com. Now, one thing we do focus on is the driver packs, or the update packs, sorry. The update packs, this is where you're going to want to put in your Ryan VM post-service pack 2 update. You want to put that in there, and you can get that from the website on the side. And then IE7 and Winamp 11 can be plugged in right here, and they're going to be there when you boot up your computer. It's not going to install them, it's going to actually patch the Windows XP disk, which is great because then you don't have all this extra crap laying around inside your computer that you don't need. Now, we're not going to cover the integrating drivers, mostly because we're going to be covering those later on in this segment. So just don't check that one. You want to go down to remove components. We're going to get into the components that we're going to remove when we actually go through all the steps. And we also want to check the run unattended setup, options, patches, tweaks, but don't check bootable OS. We're going to come back into that later because to integrate the drivers that we're going to do, we're going to have to separate this. Now go ahead and go to the next button. You're going to now have whatever selections you made. I'm going to start with update packs. I listed all the ones that you need to put in there. I do the Ryan VM first, and then I put the Media Player 11, and then IE7. I do in that order just because I think that's how they actually came out in that order, and I don't know if that really affects anything. Now, Ryan VM does have a integrating program that you can use. I've never had a problem with using Nlight OS. You can use his program, you can use Nlight OS. If you have problems, use his program. Now, moving along, we're not going to integrate drivers, so you shouldn't have the net screen, but the following one is remove components. Now, this, when you actually go into it, it's going to give you a bunch of different selections to make. Now, whatever you check is what it's not going to allow you to remove. So, let's say cameras and camcorders. If you check that, it's going to make sure you can't remove things that are going to make it so your cameras and camcorders can't be used. I check a few of these just because there's a few things that I know I need on my computer that I don't want to screw up by mistake. But some of the things I do remove is the first thing I go in there, I go into the language packs, because I only speak English, and I don't need all the other Arabic and all these other languages on the computer because I don't know it. And then I also get rid of the keyboards that associate with the other languages. I just leave English. It's easier that way for me, and it saves a lot of space on the disk. Now, you're going to want to also remove things like the search assistant. When you go in to search something, it's like, I can help you search. No, you can't, dog. You go away. Now, there's also the MSN Explorer. I've removed this pretty much since my first time making one of these discs. First time I made the disc, it actually worked, which is crazy, but there's times that you'll make the disc and it won't work. I recommend you have 2 computers if you're going to be making these things. I'm just saying. That's what I have to do because I'm not that great at it. Now, I also remove WordPad and also some drivers that I don't need because I'm going to be integrating a lot in a minute. So make your selections here, and once you make all the selections you want, just go ahead and go to Next. Next thing you're going to get to is kind of like where you're going to... The first thing you need to do is select Default Hide. That's going to allow you to pretty much not have to be there next away the computer. Now, there's a few things that if you do set up, like for instance, if you set up that your computer's on a domain and you add it to the domain and have the administrative password and stuff like that allow you in, if your network cable's not plugged in, it's going to halt at this point, and you have to press yes or no there. Now, because where I work, we use this like crazy because it saves us a lot of time. Sometimes it's just easier to format a computer than to troubleshoot it for 2 or 3 hours to find out what's going on. Because you can throw this disk in, it's back up and running in 20 minutes, maybe an hour. So it's up to you on how to do it, but that's the way we normally do things. Now, I tend to select the classic start menu. Personally, that's what is better for me because most of the icons that I use very often at work or at home, I leave on the desktop. And
would go ahead and press next now, because the next thing we're going to talk about is the TCP IP patch. I think it was in Service Pack 2 that Microsoft decided to lock you down to about 10 connections at a time, I think is the way it worked out. This program will allow you to change that and put it up to like 6 million or something like that. That's what I do. So if you do torrenting and you need a seed and stuff like that, whether it's for TV shows, IPTV shows, or whatever it is that you torrent, it'd be nice to make these changes now instead of having to patch your computer later. Another thing I changed is the USB frequency. I changed it to 500. It normally sits at, I think, 250. On some wired mouses, this makes a huge difference. There's a whole article on this online. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to find it. If you Google it, I'm sure you can find it. But apparently mouses can run better when they're at the higher frequency. Now, themes, I normally tell it to be able to do the unsigned themes, which allows you to download themes from the internet, or if your friend makes one, you can check it out or whatever, see what you think. And I also integrate one that I think was made for Media Center Edition. It's a pretty sleek theme, and it's a little bit better than the ones that come with the default Windows XP. But I also disable Windows file protection, because if you're doing updates, it might freak out or whatever when it wants to do an update on one of the system files and it's not the way it's supposed to be. Disable that, and it's going to save you a lot of hassle in the long run, because you have to change it then. It's going to be a lot of registry changes and modifying files, stuff like that. It's easier to do it this way. Now we're moving along to tweaks. I'm going to let you do this all on your own. I'll put it on the website on the ones that I do, but the tweaks that are on there, it's more you're customizing and the way you like things, what icons are on the desktop from the beginning. Like, do you want my computer, my network places on the desktop? If you do or don't, you select it there. Also, the delay when you hover over selections in the start menu before the next menu pops out. All that's done in there, and I'm not going to walk you through all those steps. It's fairly easy to do, so just give it a shot. Now, moving things along, you can also, on the newer versions of Enlight OS, be able to auto-install themes into it and have it auto-launch your computer with the theme already in place, so you don't have to go in and change to it, which is a nice feature, because now, let's say if you use, I think it's, I don't remember, there's different kinds of themes that you can put on your computer, and it's just easier to have it automatically default to this one and stuff like that. It makes it look a whole lot better. Now, let's see. When you go ahead and go to the next screen, you have the option to make the ISO and backup and stuff like that. Don't worry about that now. Actually, if you really want to, you can make a backup of the disk. But remember, these aren't going to have the drivers on there yet. This would be just for backup purposes, so that once you're to this point, you kind of have like a break point, and now you can build from here. Now the next step is going to get the drivers. The drivers are going to come from updatepack.net, I think, or updatepacks.net. Got the website right there. What you want to do is you want to go ahead and download what driver packs you want. Now, this allows you to throw the disk in any computer, literally any computer. All the drivers are going to be grabbed. Anything from the chipset, CPU, graphics, legacy, and the newer stuff. LAN, mass storage, sound, legacy, and newer stuff. And your wireless LAN, which is very handy when it comes into, like, if you bought a Dell computer, and Dell sometimes will use their proprietary wireless LAN adapters and stuff like that. Instead of going to their site and installing their 50 megabyte download, you can just go ahead and have it automatically install and grab those drivers. Now, this is pretty much an easy walkthrough. You can go through these steps on your own, but I will say one thing. I do the keep the drivers method, which allows you to literally keep the drivers, the ones that you don't use. It'll save it to whatever directory you want. I just have it be C drive, and then I think it's the folder D. It's the default way. And that way, if someone comes over and they need a driver and internet's down, or you're out somewhere and you don't have internet access, you can just go into here and be like, okay, this is the driver that you need, and send it over to his computer or copy it to your jump drive, put it in, and then install. It's very simple to do, and it's easier to do that than having to search out for the driver or whatever it may be for the one that goes to that computer. At this point now, do the finish it or slipstream or whatever the button is that they have on their program, and you want to now take this folder and everything that you've done so far and go back to Nlight OS. Now the step that I just mentioned should take about 12 seconds to integrate. The Nlight OS step, where it integrates all the changes that we've made, can take about an hour. But you don't have to sit there, and you can ever run in the background whatever you want to do. But now let's go back to Nlight OS and make a disk out of this, because this is almost ready to go. Now, since we're back in Nlight OS, just go ahead and select bootable ISO. Use the directory that we had before, because that's where all the files are right now. Go ahead and go into boot, or just go ahead and next it along until you get to the point where you can make an ISO, and you can also do a direct burn from there. I tend to make an ISO for backup reasons, and then I also do a direct burn just from there, and that means you're pretty much done. Now this covers programs that cost us a penny for this week. On the first, we're going to be releasing another, kind of like a part 2 of this, but that's for the people that have bought Microsoft Office Professional. If you have Microsoft Office Professional, you want to have it automatically slipstreamed in. It's kind of a lot of work, so we're going to make its own segment out of that. That way this mini episode is not dragged on, which is ridiculous crap. And we'll also have a different programs that cost us a penny that week. That way you're not really getting gypped if you didn't dish out the $400 for Office. So that wraps up programs that cost us a penny. Back to you guys.
Alright guys, I know that was a long segment. I was really going to piece it up to be 3, and I just wasn't sure, and I thought it was going to drag it on too long, so I crunched it all down into one, and I did it as fast as I could. And I couldn't really take any parts out because it's all very crucial. Because, I mean, I love the program, I use it all the time, and you got to give props to the guys at Nlight OS and Ryan VM and that whole group. Because they really make this Nlight really stand out so much better just because of the tools and stuff that they offer for it. But once again, this is pretty much the end of this episode. We just wanted to cover a few more things. One thing is the In the Back of Your Mind. In the Back of Your Mind has been in the works for so long. We filmed it last fall. It was a long time ago.
Yeah,
and we finally got around to finishing it early last year, but we just never finished the animations, never really pushed it out. But that's coming out very soon, and same thing with Inside. Tech Inside is a show that kind of brings you inside the jobs of technical jobs, whether it's a radio station or something like that. You just have to start watching the show, and you'll kind of see what we're talking about. But that pretty much wraps up it for kind of previews as far as the video stuff we have coming forward.
Yeah, we have a podcast coming up that we're going to get together. It's going to be roundtable discussion of various topics. It could be tech related, it could be game related, it could be not related to anything like that at all. It could be just random things, and it's going to be really cool, and we hope you guys enjoy that.
Yeah, and just think of it as Step 1 the show.
For your ears.
Yeah. But that's it for this episode. I hope you guys like it. Remember, about a week and a half, 2 weeks away from the first. So check it out. It's season 2. You're gonna love it.
Hi, I'm Noah, and I'm in the middle of nowhere looking for some Wi-Fi.